Hello and welcome to episode 5 of these filmmaking masterclass workshops. And today's subject is fundamentally one of the most important parts of filmmaking, and it is editing. Now, I'm not going to talk really about software or that side of things. Most phones nowadays, most computers, you can get easy, cheap, free editing software. You can download it. And most editing software all kind of follows the same kind of layout. It's a timeline based software where you effectively assemble and cut together your images and your sound. So I'm not really going to talk about the technical side of editing. I want to talk about two things today that are going to open your mind, hopefully, and then much more about the creative side of editing. Firstly, I'm going to talk about, I've got a book here called In the Blink of an Eye, and it's written by a guy called Walter Murch, who's considered one of the most famous film editors to have ever lived. Now, when you think about an edit, you're going to take two different shots and put them together. Now, that edit, that cut, if you will, has quite a lot of impact. As an audience, why do we not ever feel jarred by those cuts? Because often they seem very seamless. And Walter Murch in his book In the Blink of an Eye talks about this. He talks about the fact that reality, when we look around us, the way we experience life is continuous. There's not lots of jump cuts here and there. We experience everything like one long visual take. Yet we are never jarred by editing. Now, one of the reasons for that may be because in our dreams, when we dream at night, we see visions, we see images, and they are effectively cut together. They are like a montage, if you will. And we're not disturbed by that. We take in those continuous images cut together. So in the dream world of our minds and our imaginations, images and shots are edited together seamlessly. And there's lots of similarities between filmmaking and dreaming, or nightmares, so to speak. One interesting thing is if you wake up from a bad dream, people will say, "Don't worry, it's just a dream." And we say the same thing when we watch a film. If we're really scared by it, we say to ourselves or others, we say, "Don't worry, it's just a film." Yet we don't do that with any other art forms. For example, you would never say, "Don't worry, it's just a painting," because paintings don't really scare us. So therefore, films and dreams have a lot in relation in how we consume them as human beings. Now, in his book, In the Blink of an Eye, he actually says that we do edit in real life. So it's not just our dreams where there's edits. And I'm going to do a great example. So I really want you guys to focus here. And what I want you to do is I want you to fix your eyes on one point of the room. And then I want you to look up to a light and then look back to that point. And I want you to do it again. Look at that point, look up to a light and look back. Do that 2-3 times. What you'll notice is the first time you will look at the point and you will look over to the light and you will look back and you wouldn't have blinked. Then the second time you do it, you will look at the point, you will look at the light and you will look back. You will notice that your eyes actually blink in between that point to that point and back. So what your mind is actually doing, your blinking is actually cutting, is putting in cuts, is taking out the useless information, that look, the pan between, and it's cutting in between from shot 1 to shot 2. So therefore we actually do edit, we blink, which edits the information around us. And Walter Murch says in his book that part of the reason for blinking is it helps us make sense of the world. Otherwise we would be like that long continuous shot where nothing ever cuts, and it would be continuous and we wouldn't be able to take in all that information. So therefore our minds, our blinking cuts down information so we can understand the world around us. And editing is very much like that. It's about taking out the stuff that's useless so we can go from one shot to the other and we can make more understanding of it. We can understand the meaning coming from that. So edits and cuts are almost like commas and full stops in poetry or literature. So without them, we would just have a streamless, endless words, and there would be no sentence structure, no paragraphs. It wouldn't make sense. So therefore, editing is very much like that punctuation. Now, the second person I want to bring up is a guy called Lev Kuleshov, and it's something known as the Kuleshov effect. Now, Kuleshov was a guy that lived in the early 20th century. I believe he set up the first ever Moscow film school. And he was working around 1910, 1920. So we're talking about the real birth of cinema. And what he produced was an experiment, often called the Kuleshov effect, that taught us about editing. Now, what he did, he took one image of an actor, the same image, he never changed it. And what he did, he showed this image to an audience. And then he showed them the image of the man. And then the next shot it cut to was a bowl of soup. Now, instantly, because it went from a shot of the man to the bowl of soup, the audience thought, well, that means the man is hungry. Then he did exactly the same. He showed exactly the same image of the man and then cut to a coffin with someone lying in it. And straight away, the audience, when they saw those two images, thought, oh, that man is grieving. And then for the third time, he did exactly the same thing. He went from the image of a man, and this time he cut to an image of a woman. And people went, oh, that means he loves her, he desires her. Now, what's interesting is from those three cuts, whether it goes to the bowl of soup, the coffin, or the woman, is that the audience remarked what a wonderful performance that actor had given. But in fact, it was the same shot. It never changed. What changed was what shot it cut to. And it created an extra meaning between the two shots. It made the audience think, this person is hungry, this person is grieving, this person is in love. So what that means is that when we cut from one shot to another, editing isn't just about things feeling seamless between shots. It's also about creating extra meaning. It's about the audience taking away new meaning from what shots you cut from and to. There's a lot to unpack there and there's a lot to think about. But what I really want you to do is, before you now shoot your film, you've storyboarded, you've got your sound ideas, you've got your story shape, you've even found your voice through your value system. But before shooting, go back over your storyboards. Really think about, if you cut from one shot to another, what is the meaning there? Can you create power in your cuts by going from one shot to another? Will it create new meaning for the audience? I really want you to consider those points. Now, this is our final episode. I hope that over the course of these episodes, they have improved your filmmaking skills or your thoughts to how you are going to make your film. What I want you to do now is, having looked at all the episodes, is now go shoot your film. And I would love you to either post in the comments the link to your film, as I would love to see it. Really think about these lessons from those previous episodes. Go out, make your film, and I can't wait to see it. Good luck.